Graduates and guests, please be seated. Good evening and welcome. My name is Stuart Dow. I am head of the Emery Weiner School. All right, so if you were not already familiar, and I know many in the room are, let me explain. Each speaker this evening will have his or her own musical introduction, which we choose for ourselves. Not surprisingly, as the students know, mine was Elton John, and that was his classic hit, Benny and the Jets. Now, this unusual element has become an Emery tradition and is yet another reflection of our unique school culture. From the very first day of school in August, when we begin the academic year with a truly unique opening ceremony, to closing ceremony, which was just yesterday, when upper school students and faculty gather as a community rather than immediately disperse after their final exams, to the very end of today's ceremony, Emery really is different. Now, if you haven't already done so, please silence your cell phones at this time. Despite the fact that we have now had commencement in this space many, many times before, every time we do so, I cannot believe it is the Cosberg Gymnasium. The transformation is spectacular, and as such, it is not only time-consuming, but it requires the hard work of many different people. So before we get started in earnest, please join me in thanking, I hope, everyone who made it possible. Behind the curtain is our own Wizard of Oz, Walker Fair, our Director of Facilities, Walter Lopez, and his entire team, with special thanks to Haley Chance, our fabulous tech team, including Scott Labrie, Ivan Ventura, and Erica Aguilera, as well as Matthew Murphy. Endless behind-the-scenes work was done by Kelsey Hughes, Linda Powell, and Kelly Griffin, as well as my right hand, Kim Washington, who's also enjoying being a senior mom tonight. Our music and audio guru, Kevin Cowart, was doing 1,000 things yesterday and before then. Our 30-year veteran school nurse, 30 years because she preceded Emery Weiner. She was at I. Weiner, who does about 1,000 things other than just be a nurse. Connie Hurd was doing things all over yesterday. And special thanks to Dana Abalafia, who is behind me, the assistant middle school head who handles an infinite number of logistics, too many to name, that make all this possible. We could not do this program this evening without all the folks I just mentioned. Please join me in thanking them one more time. I also want to acknowledge our fabulous in-house band, Lila Gardfarb, who's class of 28 on guitar, Simon Idkin, class of 27 on piano, Evelyn Chin, class of 27 on keys, Amaranth Woods, class of 27 on bass. Oliver Ziff is a rising 9th grader. I don't even think he's allowed to be in here, but he did. He's on drums. And longtime music teacher Kelly Dean. All of them will be playing music tonight. Thank you, guys. And so now on this Friday evening, with nearly 1,000 members of the extended Emery Weiner community in attendance and hundreds more watching online, I am delighted to welcome you, to welcome members of the Board of Trustees, specifically including our president, Mark Arnold, who's sitting behind me, as well as generous donors, all of whom support us in so many vital ways. Parents who entrust us with your most precious asset, your wonderful children. Faculty, my extraordinary colleagues, incredible giving professionals, so talented, many of whom, perhaps most of whom, are not Jewish, but are nevertheless committed to our school's mission and are at the front lines of helping us execute it. My administrative colleagues who make my job so much easier and who make it a genuine pleasure. And of course, the folks in the blue gowns behind me, our dearly beloved students for whom we teach, from whom we learn, laugh, and derive incredible joy. Welcome to all of you. Now I'd like to call on Rabbi Laura Scheinkoff for the invocation. Rabbi?
You threw your head back and you spin in the wind. Let the walls crack, 'cause it lets the light in. Let them drag you. Bruchim abayim b'shem Adonai. Blessed are you who have come in the name of Adonai. Families, colleagues, students, and friends, Bruchim abayim. Blessed are you who have gathered for this sacred moment.
And Bruchim Habaim to our graduates, my beloved class of 2026. What an honor it is to share this moment with you, and what a privilege it has been to witness your growth and to see the unique, passionate, and accomplished people you have become. Class of 2026, you have come of age during a complicated time, marked by uncertainty and conflict. But your energy and your optimism and your commitment to one another have been a light through that uncertainty. The inevitable challenges that you have each faced have deepened your individuality, and believe me, you are a class made up of strong personalities, and yet through it all, you have remained steadfast in your commitment to our school and to one another. I saw this clearly as we sat together under the stars on our last night in Rome, listening to you express gratitude for one another and for the experience you shared. Knowing the struggles that many of you have faced, I was deeply moved by your understanding of what it means to belong to something larger than yourselves. Again and again, you have chosen community over isolation, belonging over separation, and in doing so, you have become far greater than the sum of your parts. You are an extraordinary group of individuals, spirited, opinionated, funny, but also wise, compassionate, and talented in countless ways. And still, what I cherish most about you is your hard-earned and deeply held humanity. That is what will stay with me, and it is what gives me such confidence in the future you will help create. The prophet Isaiah proclaimed, Beit Yaakov l'chu v'ne'elcha b'or Adonai, O house of Jacob, come, let us walk in the light of our God. The world spins ever forward, time moves quickly, so we embrace this day and pray for these graduates and for the future they will help to shape with their own hands. We pray that they build lives of meaning and purpose and that they come to know their worth. We pray that they use their gifts to heal and uplift this broken world, and we ask God to imbue these young people with the strength of their ancestors so that they may walk boldly into the future. Mishaberach avotenu ve'imotenu. May the God of our fathers and our mothers bless us now as we marvel at this new generation stepping forward. Our text says there is a season for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for mourning and a time for rejoicing. And today is a time for rejoicing, and together we will embrace it. Godspeed, class of 2026, and Ken Yehi L'Ratzon. May this be God's will.
Next, several students will join Rabbi Laura in singing the Shechacheyanu, a prayer that originates from the Talmud and dates back nearly 2,000 years. According to halakha, Jewish law, there are specific times when we're supposed to recite it, but it's become customary to mark momentous and joyous occasions by singing it, and this is most definitely a joyous occasion. The Shechacheyanu reads, Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this day. Please welcome Avery Hildreth, Elliot Kelly Leftwich, Asher Pollack, Brandon Sorkin, Nina Teachman, Seb Winkelmeyer, and of course, Rabbi Laura, singing the Shechacheyanu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and forgive me, I omitted on guitar. That's not a student. That's a fabulous colleague from our social sciences department, Mike Hatch. Beautiful job. Thank y'all. To introduce the class speakers and say a few words, it is my pleasure to ask the head of the upper school to come forward in just a second, Jess Adams. Jess is a longtime educator who has taught and worked at several schools, public and private, both local and across the country. She is completing her first year at Emory, and I know that I speak for students, parents, and colleagues when I say she has been nothing short of outstanding. Now, unfortunately, she does not laugh quite as much as we'd like, but other than that very slight shortcoming, she is warm, caring, creative, hardworking, incredibly thoughtful, and whip smart, all of which will become obvious to you when you hear her speak. Please welcome upper school head Jess Adams. Jess?
Yes, so crazy right now. Most incredibly, it's your girl, Bree.
Good evening. As Stuart mentioned, my name is Jess Adams, and I have the privilege of serving as head of upper school at Emory Weiner. Tonight, it is my honor to introduce our AVAR and ATEED speakers for the class of 2026. Before I do, though, I'd like to share a few brief thoughts. Class of 2026, after a year of working with you, traveling with you, celebrating you, and occasionally being challenged by you, one thing I know for certain is that none of you has ever struggled with having an opinion, like ever. You are passionate, you are engaged, you care deeply about the world around you, you are funny, energetic, thoughtful, and truly impossible to ignore. Over the past year, I've watched you wrestle with difficult questions about identity, community, responsibility, and what we owe one another. I've watched you disagree. I've watched you advocate. I've watched you challenge one another, and I've watched you grow. As I reflected on this class and what I wanted to say tonight, I found myself returning to a teaching from Pirkei Avot that I only learned recently. It is not your duty to finish the work, but neither are you at liberty to neglect it. Rabbi Tarfon offered these words during a period of profound uncertainty when an entire generation was trying to rebuild what had been lost and imagine what came next. What strikes me about this teaching is the relationship between the past and the future. Every generation inherits unfinished work. The past is the work handed to us by those who came before. The future is the work we leave for those who come after. AVAR and ATEED are not opposites. They are connected by what we choose to do in the present. We often tell graduates that they are the future. While well-intentioned, I've come to think that that phrase isn't quite right. The future isn't waiting for you somewhere down the road. It's already here. The future is being written right now. It is being written in the choices you make, the relationships you build, the communities you strengthen, and the ways you choose to show up for one another. Perhaps that's why another teaching from Pirkei Avot has stayed with me this year. When there is no humanity, strive to be human. We live in a moment when it is increasingly easy to reduce people to labels, assumptions, or positions, to decide we know someone's story before we've taken the time to understand it. This class has taught me many things, but one of them is that conviction and curiosity are not opposites. In fact, I suspect we need both. The future will not be built by people who all think alike. It will be built by people willing to engage one another, challenge one another, learn from one another, and still recognize one another's humanity. Class of 2026, I have no doubt that you will leave your mark on the world. My hope is that as you do, you remain open to being changed by it as well. You are not responsible for finishing the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. The future is being written right now, and I cannot wait to see what you all will contribute. Tonight, we also have the privilege of hearing from two students who will help us reflect on both where this remarkable class has been and where it is headed. In a long-standing Emory tradition, our AVAR speaker is selected by the senior class. This year's AVAR speaker is Carol Luna Georgie. This fall, Carol will attend the University of Texas. Carol is the kind of person people naturally gravitate toward. Her positivity is contagious, her enthusiasm is genuine, and she has a gift for bringing people together. Whether serving as a Madrahim, leading the International Thespian Society and the Recycling Club, or simply brightening someone's day, Carol makes our community stronger through the way she shows up for others. What I admire most about Carol is that she leads with both joy and kindness. Her classmates could not have chosen a more fitting person to help tell the story of the class of 2026. Our Atid speaker is selected by Phi Beta Kappa, the nation's oldest academic honor society, and helps us imagine what comes next. This year's Atid speaker is Gabby Brown. This fall, Gabby will attend Vanderbilt University as a Chancellor Scholar. Gabby is one of those rare students who genuinely loves learning for its own sake. She is endlessly curious, asks thoughtful questions, and is never afraid to wrestle with difficult ideas. Whether discussing ethics, Jewish identity, history, or current events, Gabby brings both intellectual rigor and a genuine desire to understand the world more deeply. As president of Mut Beit Din and the Jewish Life Council, Gabby has been a passionate advocate for Judaism and the Jewish people while challenging her peers to think critically and engage thoughtfully with complex questions. What I admire most about Gabby is that she pairs conviction with curiosity. She approaches ideas with both confidence and humility, making her a fitting choice to help us imagine what comes next for the class of 2026. Please join me in welcoming this year's Avar speaker, Carol Luna Georgie.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carol Georgie, and I have the absolute privilege of speaking on behalf of this senior class. While I believe that each graduating class is not so different from one another, the 89 individuals on this stage are particularly extraordinary because of our ability to connect. Looking back, there is a moment every school year when we are far from home, where we shed the invisible boundaries that plague our daily lives and shorten the distance between one another's hearts. Freshman year, we were sitting in total darkness, caught between the peaks of Big Bend, each holding an unlit faux candle during our final friendship circle of the trip. We all felt the gravity of our youth, the weight of the coming 4 years that then spanned out in front of us. As the speeches and the thank yous came to an end, we flipped the switch at the bottom of our candles, and the circle filled with light. In Jewish synagogues, there is an eternal lamp above the ark called the Ner Tamid. The idea first appears in the book of Exodus, a physical manifestation of God's presence and a fraction of holiness present whenever a Jewish group prays. I would like to think in that big room filled with pimply 14-year-olds exhausted from long days in the desert, we unknowingly started our own Ner Tamid, a pledge to be witnesses, for better or for worse, to one another's adolescence. Those flames carried us through sophomore year when we traveled to LA and met Nomi, a native struggling with drug addiction just a few years older than we were. Hearing someone speak so candidly of pain, grief, severed ties, and willful perseverance once again fractured the preconceived notions we had of one another. While his testimony was powerful, our subsequent reflection was unforgettable. It led to the communal epiphany that we all lived distinct yet parallel lives, each harboring unspoken pain that was not so different from our neighbors. We uncovered the humanity that connected us all, the necessity of relying on our omnipresent flame to light the path forward. That flame kept growing all the way to a bonfire our junior year during Shabbaton. We sat in a circle made for toasting s'mores and singing songs as Mr. Roundtree led an activity where students would come up in small groups and close their eyes. He would read out superlatives like, who is someone that makes you feel safe and who you connected with? Without knowing who, you would suddenly feel a group of people tapping you on your arms and back. Despite and partly because of our temporary blindness, we felt seen. That night, we were not just warmed by the strong flames of the fire or looked after by the flickering stars we gazed up at. Our hearts strengthened with the trust we gave to our classmates and the love we were given back. And finally, just a week ago, on the last night of our senior trip, we were reflecting on our time in high school during our last friendship circle. For the final time, we sat in a big field, not looking at each other's faces, but sensing each other's hearts. We didn't have candles or fire, only their memories as soft reminders of the kids we once were. Between beautiful stories filled with gratitude and reflection, I felt something hit the top of my head. A fig had fallen from the tree. If anyone has read one of my favorite books, The Bell Jar, you know that the author uses figs as a metaphor for all the possibilities our lives have to offer, and the near impossibility of picking one path without feeling regret for all the others. Every version of yourself hangs precariously on the branches of a tree. You just have to take a leap and grab it. But seeing as this speech is about our past, I think we are bound to our memories like the roots of that tree. And all of the days and the lessons and the failures we've experienced have strengthened our roots to make our future so enticing. Like every graduating class before us, we have looked upon the world with the courage only youth can provide. We've seen the fires of flickering candlelight, scorching LA suns, large campfires, and faraway stars. Yet this metaphor seems oxymoronic. How can the roots and the fruits of our trees be filled with fire? Won't we burn? But like the very essence of this graduating class, we are a group of contradictions. Despite and because of our differences, we find the fuel to continue connecting with one another. And maybe if we just keep our hearts open, then our enduring flame will continue to light the course for our future. Thank you.
If you wanna go far, then you gotta go far.
Good evening, friends, family members, faculty, and my fellow students. My name is Gabby Brown, and I'm honored to be giving the Atid address to you today. You may have thought that you're done with mods of our Torahs, but it is a Friday, so I would be remiss not to include a short one. As Jacob nears the end of his life in Parshat Vayechi, God shares a vision with him outlining the future Messianic age. It's a time characterized by immense prosperity, peace, and affluence. God states that when the Messiah comes, we will wash our garments with wine, our teeth will be as white as milk, and our fields will be replete with grapes. After learning this information, Jacob summons his 12 sons to his bedside, stating, "Gather around so I can tell you what will happen to you in days to come. Assemble and listen, sons of Jacob, listen to your father." Rashi, a renowned Torah scholar, adds a meaningful interpretation of this story. He writes that at this particular moment, Jacob had actually begun to reveal to his sons when the Messiah would arrive. But before he was able to do so, the divine presence left him. Instead, Jacob blessed his sons and commented on their future greatness, but once again, he was never able to share when such greatness would befall them. For us as graduates, this moment also holds a promise of greatness. However, none of us knows exactly when or how it will manifest. What we do know is that as soon as we leave this room, the next chapter of our lives truly begins. This is a moment when that once distant future now seems near enough to grasp. It is also a moment when the responsibilities of building a life outside of the one we know really start to take shape. Each of us has our own ideas of what this future will look like. And for the rest of our lives, we will work towards making it a reality. We'll go to college, we'll pursue a major, we'll get internships and jobs, and do everything we can to ensure that our vision of success is fulfilled. And I have no doubt that it will be. Emory has given us all of the tools to succeed. Ultimately, though, we must recognize how drastically different this success will appear for each person. The maps of our lives are already diverging in different ways, and though our paths intersect at this moment, after we leave, we are all set to take on different journeys. Several of us, myself included, have our whole future planned out. We have goals we want to accomplish at each stage of our lives, degrees we want to earn by a certain age, and so many other items on this metaphorical checklist of life to complete. Some of us will start checking items off this list right after college, but for others, it might take a bit longer. At the beginning of senior year, we learned about Miss Abalafia's strong belief that being early is being on time, and being on time is actually being late. But for the purpose of this speech, I'm going to have to disagree. When it comes to achieving our goals in life, we shouldn't hold ourselves to a rigorous timeline in our head, because if we do so, we risk missing the experiences and opportunities currently shaping us. And besides, no matter what any of our plans are, none of us knows exactly how things will play out anyways. As the Yiddish saying goes, man plans and God laughs. While I'm certainly not recommending that you forego all planning, I want to remind all my fellow seniors that sometimes it is perfectly okay to be a little off schedule. That being said, I think we all took that sentiment a bit too seriously in Italy, where our class was never on time, not even once. This is exactly the lesson God was trying to teach us when he barred Jacob from revealing when the Messianic era would happen. Our version of success may not be teeth as white as milk and fields replete with grapes, but the message holds true. Though life at times may be discouraging, God reminds us not to lose sight of our goals. Just in case you haven't noticed, the Messiah has not arrived yet. Still, every Emery Shabbaton or trip that we spend together, we, alongside thousands of Jews worldwide, end our Havdalah service with a prayer for Elijah the prophet to come and herald in the Messianic era. Just like we never stop praying for Elijah's arrival, so too should we never stop striving towards a better future for ourselves. No matter how long it takes for us to find our wine and milk, every step forward, no matter how small, gets you that much closer to realizing your dream. On our first day of senior year, which already feels like forever ago, Mr. Dow sat the seniors down in the lecture hall and asked us what we wanted our legacy to be at Emory. Now that we're on the precipice of leaving high school, that question transforms into a much bigger one. Seniors, what is the mark you want to leave on the world? What do you want your life's legacy to be? I personally can't wait to see Tegan on Broadway, Alanis, Oscar, and Gaia representing our class in Israel, Jonah winning an Oscar, and Elliot writing the front page of the New Yorker. But no pressure. We have a long time to figure out what our purpose is. There really is no deadline. But what's important is that we identify our purpose, continue to work towards it, and know that it can be achieved. We are the architects of our own success, so we have the ability to continually define and refine the blueprint of our lives. As Mr. Dow even told us on the senior trip, being ahead of school was certainly not the job he initially envisioned for himself. So, we should not be afraid to take risks, test our limits, or follow the dreams we once thought were unattainable. And ultimately, even if it's the 10th or 50th year class reunion, I'm so excited to see what we all accomplish. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory wrote, our children continue to surprise us as we continue to surprise others. Made in the image of God, we are free. Sustained by the blessings of God, we can become greater than anyone, even ourselves, could foresee. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Gabby. Typically, student speakers send us their drafts. We review them and give feedback. It will not surprise you that in this case, Carol and Gabby sent us drafts. We looked and said, you're done. Just fabulous. Another round of applause for both these extraordinary ladies. It is now time for a musical interlude. One of my favorite parts of this job is watching our students perform. Whether it is on the court, field, or stage, I am constantly amazed by the extent of our kids' talent. And as they get ready, I want to acknowledge a very special colleague. Jen Bauer Conley, affectionately known as JBC, she is my creative partner on so many things throughout the school year, from opening ceremony that I referenced before back in August, to closing ceremony and commencement in June. Sadly for us, and I know for her too, this will be her final Emory commencement, as she and her family are relocating to Massachusetts, mostly because they cannot stand the Houston winters. So, Jen, we thank you for everything you've done and wish you and your family the very best. Here now to perform The Climb are the aforementioned Tegan Fingerette, Natalie Fleischman, and Sydney Washington, accompanied by Kelly Dean, Mike Hatch once again, and from the Spanish department, Dr. Bruno Rios. Please Please welcome them as they sing The Climb.
I can almost see it. I dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, and I gotta keep trying. Gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's a climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. Yeah, just gotta keep going. And I gotta be strong. Just keep pushing on. 'Cause there's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's a climb. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's a climb. Yeah. Keep on moving, keep climbing, keep the faith, baby. It's all about the climb. Keep your faith, keep your faith. Whoa.
So beautiful. You would pay for that, wouldn't you? You actually did. You have paid for that. So thank you for that. We now come to something that has become another Emory tradition, first started over 10 years ago. We call it Gratitude Revealed. Sometime in the middle of their culminating Emory trip, Poland and Italy this year, we asked seniors to write a letter to someone in their lives who has made a positive impact on them, but someone whom perhaps the student had not properly or fully acknowledged or thanked. After completing the messages, students email them to us, not the person they are thanking. We then take excerpts from those emails and we include them in the beautiful video that you're about to see. As for the complete letters, we have printed all of them on bond paper and we'll be sending them in envelopes by standard mail. This is something the students have heard of but never actually experienced themselves. But loved ones will receive them late next week as a sort of summer thank you note. Special thanks to my colleagues Melissa Berinsky and Kay Parker for their fabulous work putting together this year's version of Gratitude Revealed. Enjoy.
I spilled the ink across the page, trying to spell your name. So I fold it up and I flick it out, paper aeroplane. It won't fly, the cell phone sees to you, 'cause it didn't leave my room, but it awaits the hands of someone else, the garbage man. You gotta say, gotta say, So he opens it up and reads it out to all his friends. Amongst the crowd, a heart will bright and a heart will mend. Walks on home, tired from work, the letter falls from his hand. He reaches out only to catch the sky. It's gone with the wind. Gotta say, gotta say, go. Said I spilled the ink across the land, trying to spell your name. Up and down, there it goes, paper aeroplane. It hasn't flown, the cell phone sees to you, but it's on its way. It goes through the hands and to someone else to find you, girl. Gotta say, gotta say, gotta say,
Things may seem somehow unsure in times. Things refined, direction signed sometimes. Today we hold it, with hands tomorrow. Today we call it, and then tomorrow. A perfect chance, once in a while. Unlucky hands, once in a while. Today we hold it, our friends tomorrow. Today we call it, and then tomorrow. However life, how partition, once back, once forth, but on we go. Today we hold it, our friends tomorrow. Today we call it, and then tomorrow. A perfect chance, once in a while. Unlucky hands, once in a while. Today we hold it, our friends tomorrow. Today we call it, and then tomorrow. A perfect chance, once in a while. Unlucky hands, once in a while.
Never gets old, and never gets old. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Kay. Well, graduates, this is the last time that I will address you as a class, which for some of you may be a relief. Regardless, and perhaps ironically, as I said in the hall before we walked in here, of all the talks that we've had together, from Zionism in the Alexander Lecture Hall to Mahmoud in the Becker Theater, I suspect that this one, here at your commencement in the Cosberg Gym, is the one that perhaps you're least likely to remember. Unfortunately for me, however, it is in front of over 900 people, so I really want to say something thoughtful. As such, like every graduation speaker this time of year, I went looking for inspiration. I watched some excellent commencement speeches. I watched some terrible commencement speeches. And I actually saw a few where the audience booed. Now, honestly, if I can just avoid that outcome tonight, I will consider it a low-key success. Is that how you use low-key? Did I even get that right? My daughter says it. I have no idea what the hell that means. Anyway. Incidentally, I also consulted chat, but we'll come back and talk about that later. But the best advice I received for my remarks this evening, they were unsolicited. They came from my wonderful colleague of more than 20 years, the unofficial mother of the senior class, my dear friend, the assistant upper school head, Dana Abalafia. We were in Italy and she approached me, and in a hushed and sincere tone, she said, "Stuart," that's how she talks. "Stuart, just keep it short. Please, for the love of God, short. And please know, I'm just speaking for the people." That is from Dana. Okay, Dana, I will do my best. Let me go back, or begin at least by going back to our last Shabbat together in Florence. We were discussing the weekly Torah portion, specifically the ancient ritual of the Sotah. The word Sotah literally means straying, and we noted how it's come to describe not only a violation of the marital vows, but also straying from God's teaching, from society's laws, or from our own ethical values. And if we are being honest, there seems to be a whole lot of straying happening all around us these days. In fact, it's pretty hard to reconcile the world that you are about to enter as young adults with Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous observation, which we also discussed that Shabbat, that, quote, "the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice." Consider just one example, the startling rise of anti-Semitism. In Zionism class, we learned of a similar quote to MLK's from a very different historical figure, the founder of revisionist Zionism, Vladimir Jabotinsky, who observed, Odessa's Jews lived with the sense that the flame of civilization has dissipated the shadows of prejudice. In other words, the Jews of Odessa believed that their society's progress meant that there would be a reduction or even an elimination of hate. And yet, those same Russian Jews faced the violence of pogroms. And despite the emancipation and the Enlightenment, French Jews faced discrimination epitomized by the Dreyfus Affair that we discussed. Italian Jews faced segregation enforced by the ghettos that you walked through. And millions of European Jews faced dehumanization and murder in the concentration camps and the crematoria that you visited in Poland. But like so many American Jews, I assumed that those things were all relics of a distant past. Never in my life did I imagine that the Jewish people would face what has become an almost daily occurrence of disdain, hostility, and even legal threats that take place all over the world, including our own country. For example, just days ago in Barcelona, Spain, a fabulous cosmopolitan city, 2 Jewish women were denied entry into a spa for no reason other than they were wearing necklaces with Stars of David. The incident was caught on video and it went viral, so you can see the vile behavior for yourself. Closer to home, a local congressional candidate recently campaigned on turning ICE detention centers into, and I quote, prisons for billionaire Zionists, while she also promoted conspiracy theories about Jewish control of society and even claiming that Jews worship Satan. Thankfully, the candidate lost, but she still garnered 40% of the vote. This in 21st century America. So how should you respond? First, be proudly defiant. In a recent interview, author of the best-selling book Sapiens, Yuval Noah Harari, said that perhaps the most important message Jews have offered humanity over the last 2,000 years is that it is okay to be different, that it's okay to think differently, believe differently, and live differently than the majority. And he's right. And that's a lesson that not only Jews should learn, but everyone should learn and benefit from. Second, remember that you carry an enhanced responsibility. Fair or unfair, people will often judge the entire Jewish community based on the action of a few individual Jews. Years ago, Hebrew National Hot Dogs advertised that they answered to a, quote, higher authority. It was clever marketing then. It is sage advice now. Be bigger and better than the bigots. And to my wonderful non-Jewish students on stage, we are so grateful that you are part of this class and part of the Emory community. You have made us better. We value not only your friendship, but we value your partnership in helping repair a world that remains deeply broken, desperately in need of tikkun olam. Of course, as graduates, your first stop in the larger world will be college. Members of this class are headed to outstanding universities across the country and beyond. But there is one college that I know none of you applied to. In fact, it's one that I suspect nobody in this gym has even heard of. It's called Deep Springs. Deep Springs is a tiny college in California with only 26 students. Its philosophy is simple: combine intellectual rigor, meaningful work, and service to others. Its purpose is to cultivate what sociologist Hartmut Russa calls resonance. It's a deep reciprocal relationship with the world around us. Resonance means not simply taking from the world, but contributing to it. It means being fully engaged with people, ideas, communities, and experiences beyond yourself. It's a concept, students, that you should seek to adopt and employ regardless of where you'll be next year. I urge you to immerse yourself in campus life. Make friends outside of your immediate social circle. Engage with people whose politics differ from yours. Take classes outside your major. Volunteer for reasons that have nothing to do with your resume. Attend Hillel, Chabad, or whatever spiritual community speaks to you. Spend time outdoors. And occasionally, just occasionally, put your phone away. In short, pursue resonance. But let's talk about technology. And let me be clear, I am not a Luddite. Technology has brought us extraordinary benefits. But let's return to Sapiens author Yuval Noah Harari, who captured the essence of social media's methodology. He said, the goal of social media's algorithms was not the creation of trust, and it was not the creation of truth. It was the creation of engagement. Now, on its face, engagement sounds like a good thing. But social media's engineers discovered that the easiest way to make people engaged is to press the hate button, or the greed button, or the fear button in human minds, because those things, hate and fear, are engaging. Harari's right. Social media traps us in echo chambers where where outrage is rewarded and understanding is thwarted. And yet we keep clicking and swiping. It's a kind of engagement that's great for the tech companies, but not for society. And it is certainly not resonance. Which brings all of us to an even more powerful technology, AI, artificial intelligence. You know a subject is hot when everyone from Silicon Valley to the Vatican is debating it. Every day brings new stories about AI's capabilities and its potential consequences. The questions about this extraordinary technology are endless. They're economic, environmental, ethical, and political. Some of us discussed these on the trip. And they're all important questions, but they're actually not what I want to discuss this evening as it relates to you graduates. The 17th century French philosopher René Descartes famously said, "Cogito ergo sum," meaning I think, therefore I am. At the time, that seemed compelling. Today, it seems rather inadequate. Reason being, of course, AI thinks too, and in many ways, it outthinks us. Consider this recent article from the Wall Street Journal announcing that AI had just solved a math problem that had stumped scholars for the last 80 years. It's doing similar things in multiple fields. For instance, a drug for pulmonary fibrosis just became the first fully AI-generated treatment with proven efficacy and safety in humans. And a Mayo Clinic team developed an AI system that can detect pancreatic cancers on a CT scan up to 3 years before clinicians can see them. The list goes on, and it will only increase over time. So there's no question that AI is smart. And yet, I would argue that intelligence isn't the essence of our humanity. Neither is professional accomplishment or the accumulation of wealth. None of those things are bad, but don't let them define you or the quality of your one and only life. Here is an embarrassing admission. A few months ago, I was using chat to help create a visual for class, and it kept making the same mistake over and over. So in response, I corrected it over and over, and it apologized over and over. I found myself sending increasingly frustrated and even angry messages. At one point, chat really did say this to me: "I'm sorry, Stuart, you're right to be frustrated." To which I typed back, "I know that I'm right." And then I caught myself. I literally realized I was arguing with a machine. I walked away from my laptop, realizing that I was on the verge of becoming one of those people you hear about who thinks that they have an actual relationship with an animate, sentient being on the other side of their screen. I was losing my mind. Because AI is a lot of things, but it is not human. So then what defines our species? What are we? Who are we? And how should the answers to those questions inform your next 4 years, if not longer. To be sure, we are beings that feel and experience emotion. But let's be honest, so are dogs. Y'all saw Millie. She's a very feeling being. So then perhaps what really distinguishes us, in this regard at least, is empathy, the capacity to understand and even experience other people's feelings or perspectives. And yet, I worry that this too may be eroding. In a recent survey conducted by the Pew Research Center, the United States was the only nation out of 25 comparable countries in which a majority of people believe that their fellow citizens are morally bad. It seems that if someone disagrees with us, we not only assume that they're wrong, we assume that they are ethically inferior too. And what's worse is that it's getting worse. Law professor Cass Sunstein's research on group polarization demonstrates that communities that hear only their own voices tend to become more extreme. And increasingly, that is exactly what's happening in our country. College gives all of you an opportunity to resist that trend. Learn from people who are different from you. Listen before you argue. Seek understanding before judgment. Demonstrate for the rest of us here a better way. Finally, there is a Jewish concept called amilut, which refers to the intellectual and spiritual struggle involved with understanding sacred texts. Many rabbis argue that AI's ability to instantly generate answers risks depriving us of something essential, the growth that comes from the effort itself. And I would suggest that this insight extends far beyond studying Torah. The point of life is not simply arriving at answers as quickly as possible. The struggle matters. The work matters. The process matters. Graduates, you are a remarkable group of young men and young women. What you displayed at that final friendship circle is what you've displayed throughout your careers at Emory. Vulnerability, empathy, gratitude, kindness, and grit. In the years ahead, there is no doubt that you will experience successes and failures, triumphs and disappointments, because that's just the topography of life. But I know that I speak for my colleagues and everyone in this gymnasium when I say that we are sure you will persevere and thrive. So my final advice is simple. Be proudly defiant. Seek resonance. Remain fully human. And finally, remember the wisdom of the beloved Rabbi Isaac of Bel Air Ruse, who remind us that God does the rowing, but we must do the steering. And this isn't goodbye, it's simply good night. Congratulations, class. So as my colleagues, Mr. Hatch and Dr. Rios, help move the table on stage, this time moving the table of diplomas, thank you guys. Allow me to say a brief word during this portion of the ceremony, the awarding of diplomas. In terms of hooting, hollering, or shouting for your kids or grandkids or your friends as they receive their diplomas, it is absolutely fine. In fact, it's encouraged. Be as loud as you want. Now, I would like to ask my colleague, the upper school head, Jess Adams will join me over there, and the assistant upper school head, Dana Abalafia, please come forward as we do what the graduates have been waiting for all morning and 4 years for, issue their diplomas. Dana.
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest.
Good evening, everyone. Will the last row please rise? Y'all can clap, it's okay. Ethan Harris Abramson. Eden Victoria Alvarez. Sarah Aru. Alana Rafaela Barrios. Eduardo Achie Benveniste. Jake Hyen Bloomrosen. Ann Brocken. Ryan Jacob Brooks. Ryan Luke Callahan. Ethan James Cox. Madison Abigail Cox. Gabriel J. Diamond. Jose Dweck. Aiden Fisher Escobar. David Rose Farrell. Dylan Alexis Fishman. Micah Joel Gablenick. Ember Fenway Garza. Lauren Bennett Getz. Rylan Dominique Glass. Julia Estelle Goldberg. Oscar Antonio Goldberg. Violet Claire Goldman. Annabelle Lily Grappaldi. Will the last row please be seated, and will the third row rise? Gaia Chana Hampel. Lauren McKinley Hancock. Faye Eileen Harrington. Daniel Erez Hernandez. Benjamin Maxim Hicks. Anthony Nicholas Ianello. Hi, Luke Germain. Sophia Irene Johnson. Andrew Isaac Kaplan. Leah Eve Keycohen. Toby Grace Kimberly. Jack Ellie Lane. Maddox Ethan Larner. Justin Paul Lehman. Benjamin Ethan Lipo. Margot Reese Levy. Chloe Jocelyn Lewin. Juliette Claire McLaughlin. Liam Evan Miller. Vincent Michael Miller. Eitan Sasan Nezer. Alanis Adi Pachter. Shai Gabrielle Penchas. Also. Will the third row please be seated? And will the second row rise? Hannah Abigail Pinellas. Aviv Leah Poor. Artur Dennis Prokofiev. Jonah Blake Prosson. Oh, no. Here, we can take a picture. Okay. Right over here. Alexis Danielle Rose. Ellie Elise Rosenblatt. Bryce Addison Sabloff. Cooper Russell Sabloff. Darcy Ryan Sabloff. Shaked Sagiv. Blake Samuel Sakin. Leah Mabel Selchin. Zachary Noah Seltzer. Guy Shafran. Dave Sharma. Isaac Jeffrey Shore. Emily Danielle Schulman. Bryson Benjamin Stein. Ella Diane Tots. Emerson Rose Weinberg. Lois Elizabeth Williams. Layla Simone Wright. Will the second row please be seated, and will the first row rise? Are we good? Oh, okay. Cooper Kuo Ying. Jake Spencer Yomtov. Emma Ann Zadok. Gabrielle Claire Zanger. Harrison Scott Zimmerman. Sydney Bryce Washington. Natalie Ann Fleischman. Tegan Simone Fingerette. Sebastian Roderick Winkelmeyer. Nina Lynn Teachman. Brandon Ryan Sorkin. Asher Logan Pollock. Elliot Margaret Kelly Leftwich. Avery Suzanne Hildreth. Serain Misha Adyantaya. Kayla Irene Whitman. Emily Rose Newman. Eva Gail Dow. Gabrielle Elise Brown. Carolina Luna Giorgi. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Y'all can sit.
Congratulations. We're almost there, but not yet. Since it is late Friday, the Jewish Sabbath will begin shortly. Just as Gabby mentioned, we want to welcome her together by reciting the Shabbat blessings, led by 3 of our graduates. When we get to the Motzi, I ask that all of you join in the Emory weekly tradition, which is that we all rise and we join arm in arm as we connect as a community. Please welcome for the brachot, Eva Dow, Emily Newman, and Kayla Whitman. Ladies.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lehem min haaretz. Amen.
That challah may actually be large enough to feed all of us. That thing is gigantic. That's like steroids. Anyway, so we're a little closer, and we really are close. But before we conclude, I would like to ask Rabbi Ari Vernon to please come forward for the closing benediction or the priestly blessing. Rabbi?
Wasn't going to say anything. About 3 weeks ago, a man who had only known y'all for a week, Jonathan Deutsch, who was our guide in Poland, had, after coming to love you, wanted to share this blessing with you, which is part of our Friday night ritual usually bestowed upon children by their parents. You might remember him doing that. When we say this blessing, we bring down God's love, really, through us to you. And so if you can think about that one man who, after only knowing you for a week, wanted to share that love with you, just imagine how much of God's love all the folks behind me want to share with you. Yivarechecha Adonai, ve'yishmerecha, ve'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai, panav elecha, v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai, panav elecha, ve'yasem lecha shalom, ve'yasem lecha shalom, ve'yasem lecha shalom, shalom. May God bless you and keep you, look kindly on you, be gracious to you.
May God reach out to you in tenderness and give you peace. Yisadonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom ve'yasem lecha shalom ve'yasem lecha shalom shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Ari. Okay, so now we're really close, tantalizingly close, but allow me to explain how we do the recessional here at Emory. It may not be typical, but it is reflective of who we are. One of the most defining qualities of our school, and I was literally just saying this to the faculty and students before we marched in here, one of the most defining qualities are the relationships between the teachers and the students. Because we don't just look for subject matter experts, they are that, of course, but we look for faculty, for teachers who genuinely care about kids and work hard to forge connections with them. And the students themselves, they will tell you the impact this has on their education and on their experience here. So in just a second, I'm going to ask these wonderful teachers who have given so much because they care so much to line the aisle as their students walk before them one last time before they enter the post-Emory world that awaits them. Mr. Dean, music please, and then teachers, please take your places. Graduates, please rise for the age-old wonderful tradition of tossing those silly hats high into the rafters on the count of 3 in Hebrew. Echad, Shtaim, Shalosh!